This way, people that are watching on YouTube, they get to see a little bit of the silliness and stuff that
behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes
Yeah.
before we hit record. So
Sure.
Yep.
I'm going to get the music pulled up here. So you, like I said, you probably won't. Let me see. I want to see it. I don't think you'll be able to hear this. Can you hear this music?
No.
Okay. So yeah, so you're not going to hear any of the music, but I'm going to start it off, and then I'll introduce myself, introduce Justin, and then we're just going to introduce you right from the go of it. And we're not going to do a smoking report, but I do want to mention Wood and Waters.
Okay.
They're a cigar pick.
Yeah.
They're 1150 veteran owned and operated and all that stuff. So we won't do a smoking report, but I do want to make sure that we mention them. So
Cool.
all right, so we're gonna count it down, and we're gonna hit the hold on. Actually, you might lose us for just a second because I gotta erase the old episode. So let's see what.
For a minute.
Yeah. And you should have us back. All right. So if you're watching on Zoom, sorry about that. So, all right, here we go. We're going to get started in 3, 2, 1. It's Smoking Sounds, the ultimate podcast for cigar and pipe enthusiasts and those looking to embark on a journey where smoke intertwines with sound. We got those Silent Hero cigars, so come on, baby, getting in. Bryce, we got some Nickelback going. I know you can't hear it, but we got some Nickelback going. I actually started with the wrong song, so
That's all right.
I had to play a DJ and mix it up a little bit there, buddy. Hey guys, welcome back to Smoking Sounds. I'm Sean, one of the hosts, and joining me is a man who needs no introduction. The only man to ever apply the sharpshooter on the hitman. It's Justin.
Hello, everybody. We are getting ready tonight. As we are recording this, is WWE's Money in the Bank.
Tippy in the bank, not this year though.
Well, no, because she's already the champ. So we're excited about that. We're excited to have anyone's career can take a change. So what that is, just for the uninitiated, the wrestlers tonight, there'll be 6 women in their match and 6 men in their match, and the idea is to climb the ladder, get the briefcase that's suspended above the ring. Inside that briefcase is a contract that you can cash in at any time, anywhere, for anyone's title, like the World Heavyweight Championship or the Intercontinental Championship, or what have you.
What about Joey Chestnut in the hot dog eating championship?
Well, I don't know that's not WWE just yet.
Oh,
but I think they're working on it.
Yeah,
just kidding. So anyway, so we are very excited about that. Definitely very pumped about. I think the crowd's going to go nuts tonight because they fired R-Truth, and all the events so far have been said we want truth, and WWE's trying to censor that out.
They want Coolio to come back for that fantastic voice.
Yeah, but anyway, so look, today's not a wrestling show. Just kind of let you know what's kind of going on.
That's right. So, and this, so usually right now we would jump into the Smoking Sound Smoking Report. We're not going to do that, but I do want to say that thank you so much to the guys over at Wood and Waters Manufacturing Group, makers of the 1150 cigar pick. Remember to use code SMOKING15 to get 15% off of your next order. So thank you guys for sponsoring. And this episode, this is our Silent Hero Cigar 1,000-yard stare episode, and joining us is the man. Welcome back, Mr. Bryce Weigel from Silent Hero Cigars. I had to hit the applause button, Bryce. You had the fake studio.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's always a pleasure, man.
So guys, we did an episode. I can't remember which episode it was now, the number, but where we had Bryce on, he talked about the mission. So Bryce, in a nutshell, tell us, like, who the heck are Silent Hero Cigars?
Yeah. So in a nutshell, Silent Hero Cigar is a veteran owned and operated company. What we do, obviously, we deliver premium cigars. We've got 5 in our core line, and then we have the 1,000-yard stare releasing today, actually. And what we do that's a little bit different is we take 10% of our profits each month, and we actually donate that towards not-for-profit organizations that help veterans with PTSD, whether that be, organizations that do service dogs, which is actually, I'll talk about that in a second, service dogs, morale building events, you name it. I mean, anything that can get our veterans out there, get around each other again, like they were in the service, and just take their mind off of, or help them with their PTSD struggles.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you. So I caught you on with the Mick and Charles the other day, the Real Smoke guys. We absolutely love them. But
Yep.
Robert at 13 Knives is also donating 10% of his sales this month to Silent Hero Cigars. So guys, make sure you're following at XIII_knives_ on Instagram. He's got some great knives and some cigar cutters, and his sales will go to Bryce. And I think we had Steve from Tulsa Hill Cigars on with us last time you were on, and it's blossomed into, they went from carrying the variety packs of Silent Hero Cigar to now you're in the humidor.
Yeah.
So you've got the tell us about what cigars they can find at Tulsa Hills. I know they've got the Maverick, the Candela, and they've got the one I'm going to be smoking.
Yeah, they have the Maverick Candela, and they have the Blend 88 Habano. And I believe, I can't remember for the life of me if he still has variety packs there on the shelf.
I think he's got, like, if he does, it's very few left.
Yeah, so I think moving forward, it's mainly just probably going to be the Candelas and the Blend 88s that'll be there, unless he decides to take on more. If he does, then we definitely won't complain. You know what I mean?
Right.
Excellent.
And I told him we were going to be talking about that 1,000-yard stare, and that piqued his interest. So I think, Steve has been so good to us, and Andrea over at Tulsa Hill Cigar Cellar, all the people there have been, and they've been open to our suggestions and opinions. And he's actually talking with the Wood and Waters guys as well, as maybe possibly carrying those picks. So I could see like a Wood and Waters Silent Hero display. We still want to get you out to Tulsa for a meet and greet event there, Bryce. That would be awesome.
That would be really awesome. And then before I forget, on the note of us, giving back to the veteran community for PTSD, for the month of May and June, we actually are combining those 2 months together. So we're actually trying to fully sponsor a service dog for a veteran out here in Wyoming.
Nice.
That suffers from PTSD.
Yeah.
So all the, literally anything, it doesn't have to be just cigars. We have merchandise on our website as well, so any little bit obviously helps, get that covered for our brave servicemen.
So when are we going to get the Silent Hero cigar hats, Bryce? Because I'm a hat guy. I'm at that age where I'm balding, and so I need a hat.
That's the next thing that I'm going to be working on. It was between hats and hoodies, but the amount of people that have tried to, I don't know, beat me up in the dark alley over a hat, it's like, all right, I need to follow through on that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, a hat's it's easy to wear. And I'm so particular about my shirts. It's hard for me to order shirts online because I like it where they choke me. Like I can barely get my head through it. I like them real tight around the neck.
Right.
So hat, I love hats. And with all the stuff that we do, I would love to be able to have that hat to wear to support you all the time.
And speaking for the Associated Pumpkinheads of America.
That's right.
And I'm not only their president, I'm also a member.
Yes.
Try to get a hat that it has like an elevated crown, a little bit larger, because a lot of the hats you find are just they're little bitty. And if I may, you guys can see me on Zoom. I tell you, if you're looking at hats, talk to whoever Drew Estate talks to.
Oh man, those are almost too big. Those are almost just pumpkin size.
No. So if you just little suggestion, talk to whoever Drew Estate talk, because their stuff is just right on, at least for the Associated Pumpkinheads of America. why do I think that's going to be a Smoking Sounds t-shirt?
I think so. I think it is. But
Listen, I made it up.
I'm not trying to run your merch tent here, Bryce, but it's called OTTO. It's like they make these hats. So if you have a good embroiderer, those hats, you can get them in snapbacks or the Velcro. And I got Justin one of Sterling Harjo's. He's a local, he does reservation dogs. It was on FX. He's a American TV producer, and he's doing a show with Ethan Hawke. But I got Justin one of his hats, and it's Pumpkinhead approved. So just to throw that out there,
just some ideas for us. Ideas
or anything?
No. Neither one of them are paying us to say anything. So it's just stuff we like.
Those proceeds would be going to Silent Hero Cigars.
Heck yeah, man. So now I also I love your t-shirt. It's very basic. You know, one more day t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm in other words, I'm a big keep it simple, stupid. You know, don't get too crazy with things. So I love that just has that statement on there and the guy smoking the cigar. But Bryce, you got to help me out, brother. They're sold out of the 2XL.
They are, dude. I'm telling you. So when obviously that was our first merch release that we were doing. So again, a lot of things, especially when you're first starting out, you're just trying to test the waters.
Right.
And the biggest thing that, the little bit of the hesitation that I had was like, not obviously understanding what everybody's size is and everything like that. Like it definitely can get a little tricky. And so what I ended up doing was I was trying to play it safe with a little bit of the middle of the road. And then I got some, outliers essentially. And then, of course, as, luck so have it, it seems like I needed to kind of shift, towards like, large XL, which is fine, but then really start looking at 2XL, 3XL, things like that, where, it just seems like that's the type of demographic that, that is around me. So as a business, I mean, we've,
right.
And we were like, okay, well,
you see what works.
Yeah, exactly. So the next release we do, you won't be disappointed. So we're going to start getting a little bit more heavy on the, larger sizes that way. Because I mean, we sold out of the 2XL. We had 3XL at 1.2, and those sold out literally probably within an hour and a half.
Wow.
And then the larges and XLs, I had about, I think 30 of each, and 15 of each of those sold out probably the next hour. After that. And then I didn't run any smalls because I kind of figured that much. But the mediums, I had about, I think like 10 mediums, and those all sold too.
Wow.
And so really I only have 15 larges and I think 15 extra larges left over from that run. So
see, I need to get me a medium so I can make it to, I'm gonna get a belly button piercing this summer, Bryce, so I can be like,
oh boy.
I'm completely kidding. Kidding. I'll send people watching on YouTube the visual of that. But
I was going to say we're live on YouTube.
That's right. So,
piercing.
But that's a good problem to have, right? That means people are sponsoring and supporting this awesome mission that you have. I mean, I like to say, as awesome as your mission is, you couldn't be a more awesomer person behind this mission, Bryce. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I have just enjoyed all of our conversations and getting the opportunity and the honor of calling you a friend. So thank you for that. For me and Justin both.
Absolutely. And so I wanted to, so also when you come out with the new shirts, you can do me a personal favor, because my favorite color to wear now is military green or olive drab.
Oh yeah.
So if you can get that color preference in there, double A stroke bonus.
That's right. Pumpkinhead hats and military green.
Military green.
Justin approved, right? So you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, that's right. So so anyway, so all right, let's stop.
So
here.
let's
we're going to talk about what we're smoking.
So I'm smoking the Blend 88. I've had several of these. Absolutely love your. I cannot wait to get those 1,000-yard stares in. So why don't we segue into that? Let's talk about your latest blend, and then we'll kind of work backwards and talk about your other blends. Because I mean, let's be honest, that's the reason why we're here, is to celebrate the release of the 1,000-yard stare, and tell us about the meaning behind it. I love the band. Actually, I think, I'd said on our last episode that the La Aroma de Cuba band is one. I think the Silent Hero Cigar band is another one that I would possibly get tattooed on me. I think that would make a great tattoo.
I appreciate that, dude.
I was not ever in the military, so I don't know if that would be like a disservice if I get, but I think I am a supporter of Silent Hero Cigar. So if I do get a tattoo of that, I will donate 10% of what I pay for that tattoo to Silent Hero Cigars.
Oh, well, thank you, brother. Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know if you can see it, but I actually got the name tattooed on like, I guess the top wrist.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome.
Excellent.
And then I guess to make sure I also don't forget, so those 2 cigars that you had purchased for those 1,000-yard stares, those actually went out the door today.
Okay.
So those guys are headed, right to your door. And so about the 1,000-yard stairs, so and I say we, me and the design team, we came up with the idea that we wanted to do something special for the, can you guys hear that bird behind me?
That's cool.
I know. I love it.
This is Smoking Sounds. Everyone's welcome.
Dude, it happened the same thing with the Real Smoke podcast. Dude.
Okay. Hey, Tweety's chiming in. He likes the 1,000-yard stare.
Evidently. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to come up with something that was specific to men's mental health and like PTSD, for the month of June. And we wanted to kind of get specific with, something that is more visual. So like, oftentimes, I talk about, the little things that happen internally for, people that suffer with PTSD. Yeah. And for this, we wanted to give something that was an outward exposure. So 1,000-yard stare is actually, to give some history about the name, it was actually a painting done in World War II. And it was a painting that depicted soldiers at that time. And the painting is actually a picture perfect representation of what that 1,000-yard stare looks like. It's that glazed over, disassociated stare that it has to it, or you look kind of, gone really. And so we really loved the name. And we thought it was absolutely perfect. So we designed the cigar after the name.
Okay.
So the cigar itself is a 7 1/4 by 42 Lancet Pennsylvania broadleaf. And so it's a long, skinny, cigar to portray that 1,000-yard long stare. And what we also wanted to do that was a little different is that Pennsylvania broadleaf is a tobacco that, I personally don't really see too often, especially as a wrapper.
Right.
And so again, it's just kind of playing on that uniqueness of that look of the cigar and the name, as well as the bringing exposure to that disassociated look. And so that cigar is probably, besides the Founder's Choice flavor bomb due to the size of the cigar.
Okay.
And again, I could not be happier with how it just turned out. All in all, like the bands that are on the cigar came out looking really pretty. And
the picture you shared is beautiful. I cannot wait. And that will be when we do get them. That will be the first Lancet cigar that I've ever smoked. I've not ever had one in that Vitola or whatever, ring gauge or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah,
that'll be my first one. So I'm very happy it's going to be a Silent Hero cigar.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's I originally was kind of, so I actually blended that cigar with Ish over at Banff. Okay. So I wanted to do something that was kind of hand in hand with him. So not only to get a really great product to represent our veteran community, but to also learn like how he thinks as a blender as well.
Yeah.
And so when we came up with that, I originally asked him, I was like, I'm kind of thinking of a 38 ring gauge, but every time I've ever smoked one, it doesn't even matter. Like if it's all rolled perfectly, like sometimes the burn can get real wavy. And I was like, what can we do to prevent that? Like, would it be, a specific tobacco that needs to be used on the inside, or do we need to just up the ring gauge a tad? And a combination of the two of those, I smoked. So he sent me 10 samples. I smoked 7 of them. And all seven that I smoked never had a burn issue or a draw issue.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's so this is the second episode in a row that Banff has come up. Then that stands for Badass Mother Trucker, right? So we'll keep it. But if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what you know of Banff and Ish and all that, just because you have a lot more extensive knowledge on them than I do. I follow them on Instagram and all that stuff, and I think that's great what they do. But I love that you guys are working together on this.
Yeah, and so Banff, or I guess Ish. So Ish, to give some backstory, when I was first starting out in the industry, and I was still trying to get my cigars blended, I actually had reached out to him. And for some reason, the timing didn't align right, and we just couldn't get on the phone together. And so I had to find another factory. And so a couple of months goes by. I believe I reached out to him in October, the same year that or October of last year when I dropped everything, and just kind of said, hey, I know we didn't connect in the beginning when I released everything, but would you be open to helping me with this special release that I want to do for next June? And with Ish is extremely easygoing. Like, the only thing that I think people that kind of get upset by is the fact that, like, he's going to tell you if something does not work.
I think you would want that, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And if you're someone that's making a cigar, if you want someone to tell you, and I hope that when me and Justin have them, we will smoke them on an episode, and we'll be honest. We're gonna, because we love you, we're not gonna just say that they're great cigars, because but I've not had a bad cigar from you yet, and this is probably, honest to God, my 10th Silent Hero cigar that I've had. I've had 2 variety packs, and so I've had all the different shades of wrappers, and I've not ever had a draw issue, a burn issue, and so, but I would think it's someone that's a cigar manufacturer. Would you want people to tell you, yes, this works, no, it doesn't work?
Exactly. And like, I think with me, it's like, dude, I want you to tell me that, because again, at the same time, like, I maybe put pressure on me that probably doesn't exist, but I mean, I feel like I have the pressure that, I need to deliver an exceptional product, because I feel like I'm representing the veteran community that suffer with PTSD. And so everything that I do has to be, 110% of my best ability.
Right.
Well, let me ease some of that pressure on you, but I mean, keep doing what you're doing, but sir, you are producing a phenomenal product. And I think that the cigar community would strongly agree. And, so I think that pressure that you put on yourself is getting us the products that we're getting.
Yeah.
But just know that it's working.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's just from a couple of knuckleheads here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
And see, we don't have that problem. Everyone always tells us we're great, so we think cheese. But,
and I think that does more damage than anything else. But
except Jay Furman, he's honest with you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Have you had the pleasure of meeting or talking to Jay?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's a big supporter of yours as well. So
yeah.
But anyway, I'm not trying to make this about me and Justin. I just want to interrupt you there and let you know that what you're doing is working.
And
no, I appreciate that.
So, okay. So you mentioned the 1,000-yard stare. So it has the broadleaf wrapper. And so would you describe that as a, when it comes, is it a dark, is it a light? I mean, so to give our guys, maybe they not familiar with that leaf or whatever, because, and they say, okay, what can I expect when I order it from Silent Hero?
Sure. Yeah. So it almost represents Habano in a way. It's got that reddish hue, but it's a little bit darker of a brown. Like, honestly, if I could give it a specific like pattern, it kind of almost looks like a camo-ish pattern. Like it.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, okay.
I'm down.
It kind of plays with like the red and brown. Like it kind of almost alternates. It's not obviously very pronounced, but like if you look at it in the light, you'll honestly see the transition of it. And so that Pennsylvania broadleaf is a little bit more bold of a tobacco, and it's a little bit not harsh, but it's got a little bit of oomph to it. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to make something that was full body, that kind of represented like a kind of like a strong cappuccino. So you're going to get that creaminess, you're going to get the espresso, you're going to get a little bit of that earthy tone to it. And that's throughout the cigar. And again, like the cigar, it's hard to explain until you actually smoke it. It's just incredibly smooth. Like all of the flavors are extremely clean. And it's not like the flavors are just super forward. Like once you kind of start to light it up, you're like, oh, okay, I can get that. Like I got the little bit of maybe a little bit of nuttiness behind it. You know, I got those rich, cocoa notes and a little bit of that rich espresso notes. You know, it's all right there, right in your face as soon as you light that cigar.
So in working with Ish over at Banff and all that, how many variations of Thousand Yard Stare did you go through before you landed on the right blend?
So I went through. So the first one was the Pennsylvania broadleaf, and then he was pretty adamant on me trying the Cubra,
Okay.
Cubra wrapper, which is the Cuban Brazilian, I believe. I could be wrong on that one. I'm not.
I think you're right.
All too knowledgeable in that wrapper. And so I tried both of them. And again, like I had mentioned previously, it really came down to exclusivity and what I don't see too often. The Cubra was the exact same blend, just different wrapper. And since, for those that may not know, a lot of the flavor, if not the vast majority of the flavor in a cigar, comes from that filler binder, because that's the prime majority of the tobacco. And then the wrapper is just obviously what's put on the outside. And so the flavors were practically the same, besides that little difference from the Pennsylvania broadleaf to the Cubra. And again, they were both fantastic cigars. But the Pennsylvania broadleaf was one that I was a little bit more drawn to, just because, again, I don't really see too many people with that wrapper.
Sure. Yeah, very true. This is the first that I've heard of a Pennsylvania broadleaf. That's right. That's what it is.
Yep.
So I'm really excited to try this Thousand Yard Stare. Not because it is Silent Hero Cigars, and I'm very excited to see, and especially in the land. I know that's a lot of people love that long, skinny Vitola.
Yeah.
A lot of people prefer that. And so I'm a Gordo guy. I love the big ring gauge. And so if you ever decide you want to produce a big old Gordo size cigar, just know I'm your man. I'm about that life.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I think the next one to kind of give you guys a little golden nugget is, I think I don't know if you guys ever saw or had the pleasure of smoking the Rocky Patel Super Ligero.
I have not. Justin's a Rocky Patel guy.
No Ligero, certainly.
So the Super Ligero was one that I had started smoking when I was like 18, 19 years old. And back when that was the legal age, obviously. And it was a killer cigar. I loved it to death. Like it was right up my flavor profile. Like, it's just super, full bodied, I mean, it was definitely one of those where you had to sit down, when you were smoking that, because it was going to make you a little lightheaded. And so that's something that I don't want to copy the exact same thing. I want to put my own spin on it, obviously, but that is something that I'm going to be tinkering with in the future, doing like a 6x56 or something like that.
All right.
Okay.
And yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, and I want to, like the core line that I have, where they're Robustos besides the one Toro. I think those will be the only Robustos that I do. Moving forward, there'll be, anywhere from 6+. I really would love the opportunity to get a Churchill going for one of these special releases and stuff like that. So
yeah.
No, that is in the works. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever bump up to a 60, because I personally don't like the 60s. I mean, 56 is my limit, but if the demand is there for 60s, then I'll just shut up and I'll blend one out and get it rolling.
Listen, us Gordo guys, we got to stick together. And another thing I wanted to mention, my brother had recently had gotten into cigars since we started doing this, and he didn't contact me. He listened last time you were on, and he went and bought one of the variety packs from Tulsa Hill Cigars. I didn't tell him to, and just was so my brother Adam, absolutely love him, and he's been on with us a couple of times, but just very complimentary about how good your cigars were, and he's a big, like Justin, he loves the kind of the infused stuff, right? So it's typically what he goes to is the deadwoods, the acids, things like that.
Right.
But he absolutely loved what he got in that Silent Hero variety pack. And I think a lot of people, that's a great place for them to start, because it's like, what do I want? Am I a Habano guy? Because like I said, we said this on our last episode, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he said, damn it, you made me a Candela. He didn't like Candelas until he smoked the Maverick. And he said, damn it, you made me love Candelas.
Yeah,
and we like that a lot.
my good friend Paul Hewitt. Yeah, man, I turned him completely into Candelas. I mean, he buys 5 packs of Candelas now. I mean,
Oh, wow.
the dude absolutely loves it. And I mean, he's, I usually, if I'm at like an event or something, I usually don't, obviously name drop him. I usually just refer to him as, I had a customer that was, super adamant that he just hated Candelas. And, I didn't even have to, it's not like I try to sit there and sell him. Like, I mean, he asked what was in it, like what it was comprised of. And, told him, and I was like, you're more than welcome to try it. If you don't like it, and that 5 pack, let me know what you do like, and I'll kick you out whatever you do like. And I was like, so don't worry about, throwing money down the drain or whatever. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I'll get you what you do like.
And I don't know if Tulsa Hills, I don't know if they tell you what the sales look like and stuff, but I will say I'm in there quite a bit. And that Candela is selling. I mean, I look at that box there, I look at your section. I'm always happy to see that people are buying them. And that, they're pushing the Silent Hero cigars. And look, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I'm happy to see that your product is in one of my local stores. And I'm so happy that Steve, and I think that Steve coming on with us and smoking your cigar was a big deal, right? And
Yeah.
he fell in love with it on the episode. And he's very complimentary of it as well. So
All right, so we'll stop here. So let's talk about what we're smoking here, Sean. You had the Maverick Habano, is that right?
no, I've got the I sell Blend 88.
Blend 88.
Yep, Blend 88.
The Blend 88.
Okay, so
it's perfect. This is the cigar that made me love Habanos. I smoked it. I think the box press is my favorite. I'm into that box press. So if we're keeping score at home, my new favorite size now is the 60 box press, the Gordo box press. Just for those of you keeping score at home. But no, I absolutely love and this is another thing I want to compliment Bryce on is the aromatics from your cigars are just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those that it's not going to run you out of the room. It's going to welcome you into the room. It's just got a fantastic aroma coming off of it. And I keep just kind of pushing. I've got a little fan blowing behind us here because we are in Tulsa, and you're lucky we're not in Speedos here with you, Bryce. But that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother.
It is getting hot, bro. I mean, that's
only smoked
all right,
episode. But,
so kind of Sean, kind of tell listeners kind of what you're getting there.
Well, now look, I've got the basic white boy palette, so don't ever go off of my tasting notes. But again, I get a lot of the earth. I get a little bit of leather in it. Could have been what I ate. I had a little bit of spice off the foot, and I know a lot of times what you have to eat prior to smoking a cigar can affect that. But and the one thing that I like about these cigars too is the subtle changes in the notes. Right, you're going to get pretty much the same earthiness, leatherness, all that stuff through the whole cigar. I hope I'm doing that justice in explaining that, Bryce. But yeah, it's a fantastic cigar. Again, no draw issues, no burn issues. I used a big V cut on it. That's my cut of choice. I probably should try a punch or a straight cut on sometimes, but I just can't get away from that V cut. I don't know what it is.
So are you smoking, Bryce?
I am. I'm smoking actually the Connecticut, the Chachi Connecticut.
Okay.
Oh, well, okay.
That's a good one too.
So if our listeners who've never had one, what should they expect with a Chachi Connecticut?
So if you're a typical Connecticut smoker, I think it'd be a little bit step up from what a typical Connecticut really would be. So a typical Connecticut typically doesn't have Ligero that's in it, so the strength of the leaf. Usually it's left out like a Candela.
Mm-hmm.
But for the Chachi Connecticut, I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more, I didn't pack it with Ligero, don't get me wrong, but like I gave it a little bit. So that way when you're sitting there smoking, it kind of keeps your palate a little bit more interested. You're smoking at that point.
Gotcha.
And you're able to get those, again, like I pair a lot of things with coffee. I'm a big coffee guy. So for me, really good cappuccino or a really good iced latte is really what I blended this cigar after. So it's got a lot of creamy notes. It's got a lot of that, that coffee behind it as well. But again, it still has a little bit of that pepper to it that keeps it interesting. It keeps it going.
And I feel like this is Justin. I need to tell now. Your cigars go great with grind coffee pouches. Now this is one of their energy pouches, but the whiskey bourbon or the double mocha, any of those any of those coffee flavored pouches from Grinds, if you're not a guy that's going to blend or have a cup of coffee, I tell you, you throw a Grinds coffee pouch in your lip and it is going to go, or one of the Zemo nicotine or nicotine free pouches. I know that you had been talking with some of the guys from Zemo, and we love those guys. I mean, they're very supportive of us, and I think those pair well with a Silent Hero cigar as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So what I have, do you have your glasses on?
Well, yeah, I do.
Okay.
So let's see. What you're smoking here is a Macanudo vintage Maduro, and this is, I'm going to go ahead and hold this up because Bryce, I know you know this guy. You keep holding this up. Cigars with Angel. Angel has done some fan freaking tastic post for Silent Hero Cigars.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was his first one he did. It brought tears to my eyes. He just nailed it on the description of your mission of the cigars. And if you don't mind, Bryce, I got to say,
No,
I had asked Angel I said, I noticed he had a sticker, and I said, hey, you've been so supportive of us, brother. I said, would you mind sending me a sticker so I can include it in our post? Because I want to support you and him. Cigars with Kenny and Cigars with Kevin. Those guys have been with us since we started, man. I mean, they've been with us through the thick and thin, and it floored me with the package that they sent us. I mean, it was keychains and stickers, but more cigars than I deserve. And I don't know how I say this. I don't know how we've gotten so lucky to be so welcomed into this community.
Sure.
But it just floored me. It was one of the nicest gestures. And I know that Angel is a huge supporter of yours and Kevin and Kenny as well. And they call themselves Cigars with the Three Amigos. And,
nice.
And we're going to have those guys on with us here sooner rather than later, because they do a lot for this community, and they're not some people that are, I just don't know that Angel always gets the recognition he deserves for what he does for this community.
Yeah, Angel is a wonderful guy, man. I mean, I absolutely love every post that he does. I mean, the amount of thought and attention to detail, and and just the photogenic side of even just the photo. I mean, it just looks fantastic. Everything is buttoned up tight. And I mean, and again, I mean, he's an awesome guy. I mean, yeah, he's been a great supporter of our mission, but outside of just that, I mean, he's been a terrific person to know and to be able to call a friend for sure.
Yeah. So when we, Justin, we were talking about, and I was going to give him my Candela, like I was saying, and unfortunately I'd smoked that, but I told him, I said, well, if we're going to smoke something that's not a Silent Hero cigar, let's pick something that Angel sent us, because it meant that much to me.
Yeah.
So this is the Macanudo vintage. I believe this is the Maduro.
Yes. And okay. And I would say that's probably like a Toro, maybe a double Toro ring gauge.
Yeah. And so just if you guys run across these, by the way, that band on it is metal.
Yeah.
And he's going to show that to everybody again. So it's metal, and it was, I smoked it because of the band. I'm like, oh man, that is so cool. But so as we've often said, a lot of times you'll see these Maduro type cigars, and you'll think, but this thing is as mild as a Connecticut, but tasty like a Maduro. Okay. So this one is kind of, again, if you are keeping score at home, this is kind of best of both worlds. Again, mild like a Connecticut, but with the flavor profile of a Maduro. So if you happen to run across this and you need something, I would even say, let's say you're out with the guys or gals at the cookout, and you're going to pass out some cigars. You want something kind of nice, but you don't even know if half of them even smoke on a regular basis. This would be one of the ones I would get, because it's going to look intimidating. It's going to look dark and heavy, but man, again, it's mild. It is Connecticut mild, but there is flavor there. There is a lot kind of going on, but it's real mild. I would say probably the biggest thing I'm getting from this is kind of leather and earth. Absolutely no spice, as you would anticipate with a Maduro. No spice, but leather and earth, and it's just again, this one is really kind of best of both worlds, and so if the Macanudo vintage Maduro in this the double Toro size is just a great. Now, I would say the only thing I will say, it is very mild. So if you're thinking about pairing it with spirits like bourbon or anything like that, I would say no. I would say it's probably going to get drowned out. So again, pass these out to your friends who you don't know how many cigars they really smoke in a year or in a month or in a week. Now, if you have some serious aficionado friends, like all your guys are coming over, they are total cigar snobs, you're probably going to want to serve something else. They're going to kind of, although many of them got their start probably with Macanudo vintage, in the early days. So it might you might go for a nostalgic hit, but again, this one isn't like a good all around, just pass these out type cigar.
And I had a guy asking me the other day, because he's primarily a Connecticut cigar smoker. And this is another thing I would like to kind of steer people, that if you have seen darker wrapper cigars and you've always been kind of worried about, oh man, is that going to, put me on my keister? You've got to pick up one of these blend 88s, because Bryce's darker wrapper cigars are just packed with flavor. They're not the ones that are going to make you feel like you got a nick hit or any of that. They're the perfect transition cigar. Like if you like, man, I think that Candela sounds like it's something right up my alley, because it's not going to be too overpowering. Listen, obviously smoke what you like, don't, but I would encourage you to try one of these darker wrappers, especially the Habanos, the Habano box press, any of these, because they're just great cigars, Bryce. I don't know how you did it, but you did it, and we absolutely love it, man.
Yeah, the sample pack is beautiful. I mean, it really kind of bridges the gap a bit for me, because, or not for me, but for everyone else, because the biggest thing that I noticed in my humble 8 years of smoking, not all cigars are the same. So like you were saying, like just because you see two Maduros next to each other, again, like that Super Ligero from Rocky Patel was a Ligero, or not Ligero. Super Ligero from Rocky Patel was a Maduro. If you put that Maduro next to the one that Justin is smoking, they're vastly different. One
oh
is,
my gosh, yeah.
The one's absolutely going to put you on the ground, and then the other one is light and is lovely.
Yeah.
And so with my sample pack, that's what I was trying to convey to people, is like, just because they get darker in shade, yes, the Maduro, the San Andreas Maduro, the Founder's Choice, yes, it's a little bit of a more of a boldish smoke than obviously the cigars before that, but it still is not going to give you that that head rush or anything like that. I mean, and it's like you said, I mean, it's packed full of flavor, and it's honestly like, the way that I would probably describe it is like almost like a dessert cigar.
Yeah.
Like it's got a lot of sweet tones to it. It's got, and again, like it's not overbearing with black pepper, where it's just an assault to the palate. It's very approachable as a San Andreas Maduro, for sure.
And your San Andreas, what remind me the name again of your the San Andreas that's in your pack?
So the Founder's Choice.
Founder's Choice. That's what I thought. I had that in my head, but I'm so scared to mess it up, Bryce. I don't want to do you any disservices here, brother. But
no, you're good,
yeah, man. I mean, because just like I say Jay Furman again. He said he doesn't eat carbs. I was listening to him on a podcast, and so his pipe or cigars after dinner is kind of his dessert. And I'm finding that these San Andreas cigars are that's right. You just nailed it. It's like a dessert after your meal. So have a good meal, and then treat yourself to a Silent Hero cigar afterwards.
Absolutely.
And you can't hear. Unfortunately, we've got the battle of the Affliction rock gods going on here underneath us. We got Nickelback and Creed battling back and forth here, with a little Daughtry mixed in. But I thought that'd be some fun little music. I know you like music. I don't know if those are two of the bands that you would go after. But we've got I call them the Affliction rock gods, because back in the day, if you saw someone wearing an Affliction or Tap Out t-shirt, you knew they were listening to some Nickelback in the Camaro on the mall. So
there it is.
But yeah. So what kind of music do you listen to, Bryce? We'll kind of switch gears here a little bit. We want to get our listeners to know a little bit more about Bryce, the man.
The man, not
man,
not just the myth.
Yeah. So it really just depends. So like a day to day, driving in the car, I'm usually listening to rap. Like I had mentioned on the Real Smoke podcast, I listen to a lot of Juice WRLD. I also listen to a good amount of like older rap music, which is actually what I grew up on. Like some the OG Akon and 50 Cent and a little bit.
Bryce, you must be a lot. Oh, we got to hit the rewind button. Not that one, but you said old school. I was waiting to hear like some Run DMC or the Beastie. Oh man, and you went Akon and 50 Cent on me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, and then like if I'm working out, I kind of switch it up. Then it's more like Five Finger Death Punch. It's
okay.
Again, a little bit of Creed, things that are a little bit more not upbeat, but you know what I mean. Like that genre is obviously just very different from obviously rap or hip hop. And then
you mentioned earlier you were a rapper. I know that's not what you were talking about, but I was going to say, what's your rap name? Silent H or something like? No, I'm just kidding. That's a bad dad joke. Sorry.
I would be doing everybody a disservice in that industry. They don't want to see me on that.
Silent H.
Silent H. Then you're gonna start getting called Preparation H and all kinds of weird.
Oh yeah.
We'll just call you SHC.
Yeah.
There you go.
On the ones, twos, and maybes the threes.
so excellent. So now before we switched on the mic stuff, we were talking. So now you did smoke a pipe back in the day, right?
I did. Yeah, I was pretty heavy into it when I was going through the Army and I was in training.
So what was your go-to? Like if you just grab your pipe and grab a pouch or whatever, what was your go-to?
Now I'll be completely honest. So I had a buddy of mine that was big into pipes, and he had tobacco that was just in a huge ass bag. So I'm sure it probably wasn't the best quality pipe tobacco. And he had an extra pipe, and so I traded him for a 20-pack bundle of Quorums for his extra pipe, and would sit there and smoke that pipe with him and everything. And so he actually loosely taught me how to smoke it. So I don't necessarily know the kind of pipe or the tobacco that I was smoking, but what I can tell you is that I do remember it was very enjoyable. Like the flavor on it was very sweet. And it had a little bit of that bite on the tongue, but other than that, I am not the most knowledgeable and experienced pipe guy. I will admit that.
Well, if you do get back into it, Justin's way more of a pipe professor than I. I really like Cornell and Deal's Autumn Evening. It's a real aromatic, mapley pipe tobacco. Am I describing that right, Justin?
Yeah. And now say I'm more of a burley guy. Although I smoke a lot of aromatics and I love them, but my go-to is Prince Albert pipe tobacco, and I know that's very old school. It's very the big red can. You got Prince Albert in a can, this kind of stuff. So that's my go-to. But then right up there is the nation's bestseller is 1Q, Lane 1Q. So that's definitely an aromatic, and I love all the Captain Black stuff and all that. So just to kind of give you an idea. So yeah, if you ever do, maybe just get pipe tobacco and make a cigar out of it at some point. Definitely, I'll be wanting to get my hands on that. If you ever think you want to go that route.
I was just showing him this old can of Prince Albert that I had in the car hold lounge here, but I've got a question for you, Bryce. And this is, again, I never served. My son is in the Navy. He's active duty in the Navy, but, and it may be different now, but so how is cigar smoking, pipe smoking? How is that in the military when you're active duty? Is that something that they encourage or they allow, or is it, is it frowned upon? That's something I just kind of wanted to ask.
So I know when I was in training, this is kind of funny. In training, I was actually given a tobacco stipend. So they gave an allowance essentially to go get like a pack of cigarettes or whatever. I think the way that it was described to me back then was the course was so rigorous and challenging mentally that they figured that they could at least give their servicemen and women stipend to go get some cigarettes or something to unwind at the end of the day. But as far as like, I call, they call it big army, or when you're out of training and you're doing your thing, cigars and just, tobacco in general. It's a camaraderie thing. you know, everybody's kind of sitting together. Like I know like my old team, like we would sit, you know, sit down and smoke cigars, you know, unwind and relax. And that's really what has always kept me coming back. You know, I love tobacco, you know, it's a complete passion of mine. But again, um, I do things that, you know, help me remember, you know, good people and good times and stuff like that. And so cigars is just that for me. So and you can see it through all the blending that I do. You know, everything is tailored around you know, experience obviously, but then, you know, people that I've smoked with, and, you know, listening to other people and what they enjoy in cigars, and trying to collectively gather all of those, you know, years of information to create something that I have today.
So let me ask you a follow-up question. And I can't remember if we asked you this last time or not. So if it's a repeat question from the last episode, I apologize. But in the stuff that you have dealt with, you know, your PTSD and the anxiety and all that stuff, how has blending these cigars and starting Silent Hero Cigars, how has that been just like a welcomed, much needed outlet? Has it, or has the stress increased some of that? I mean, I feel like these are, I hope you don't mind me asking
No,
this.
no, absolutely not. That's a good question.
How has that been in your journey of, you know, I know you've got Maverick, the service dog, and we can talk about that here in a minute, but, you know, because I know that I'm a mental health nurse. I mean, that's no secret. I deal with this every day. And, you know, sometimes there's always something, you got to have something to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
Like the kids I work with, I tell them, you know, I'm not a therapist, but I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of laughter, a little bit of humor, a little bit of enjoyment, right? Because the stuff that we're all going through, it sucks.
Right.
But there's something, it's okay to have something to look forward to, whether it's sitting down with your friends and having a cigar. But so how has this Silent Hero, how has that affected your life on a day-to-day basis?
It's fantastic, man. I mean, you know, when I was first going through therapy and stuff, you know, I'll share this, you know, they were really adamant on me using my hands. You know, they're like, use your hands and use your mind, you know, it'll get you away from the things that, you know, bother you. And you know, God did not bless me with good woodworking abilities by any means. And so, you know, but I knew cigars. I knew cigars to a good extent. And so I was like, you know what? You know, back then I was like, I'm gonna try this shit. Oh, sorry, try this thing.
Oh, hey,
you're right.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
And I'm gonna try this thing. And so, and it was enjoyable. It's so enjoyable. I mean, learning about different tobaccos and different growing regions, and, you know, stuff that I thought I had narrowed down before, it just completely turned it upside down. And then, you know, creating, you know, the blends, and then looking forward to getting the physical product and trying it, and just, you know, looking at it in the lens of, hey, I'm new at trying this, like I'm new at blending, like let's go into this with the expectation that the first, you know, couple probably aren't going to be great, bro. Like just keep an open mind. And again, we're doing this to, you know, express a little bit of an outlet. And, you know, and if we get great, you know, we get good at it and we start having some success, you know, for me personally, I'm a big proponent in helping people. I think in my past life, I was definitely, you know, someone that did that, whether it be a nurse or a, you know, doctor, or, you know, something like that. And so I wanted to have an outreach to help people and have a physical, you know, like know that what I'm doing, and know that the hard work I'm putting in just isn't, you know, helping me. You know, I want to help somebody else too along the way, or help as many people as I can along the way. So with understanding that in my mind, you know, it was a complete shift. I mean, it, like you said, it helped me look forward to something. It gave me a little bit more purpose, you know, like, you know, I'm obviously, you know, I'm a husband and I'm also a father. So those two give me tremendous purposes as well. But it was something that was also just my outlet. You know, it was a way for me, you know, just like how somebody else might enjoy the crap out of woodworking, and that's their thing. You know, cigars is just like that for me. But where I wanted to take it a step further is I wanted to help my brothers and sisters that, you know, that I watched and I still see to this day, you know, battle hard every day. And, you know, to know that I'm able to, you know, produce a product that is, you know, that is, you know, liked amongst, you know, unanimously, you know, it warms the soul. I would just say that, it helps a ton. And, like I said, I can't say it enough, with knowing that I'm helping other people along that journey is also a big thing for me.
And I look at Silent Hero Cigar as a brand, or Silent Hero as a brand. I think the cigars are a small piece of what Silent Hero is. I don't know what your grand idea is for Silent Hero Cigar, but we had Mason. He is a therapist here locally. He's found our podcast, and we were fortunate enough to get to meet up with him, and he's doing good smoke. And I think that there's something to what he's doing, what you're doing. I mean, I could see a Silent Hero Herf where, you've got people that, because the cigar is really, it's just like, it's secondary, right? It's a reason to open up, because you get people on in a cigar lounge or something, and I use baseball at work. I'll have kids that they'll tell me, I ain't talking to you. I ain't talking to you. We'll go outside and I'll get them playing catch with me, and they'll tell me their whole story. Right. I see Silent Hero is this huge thing that not just America, but the world needs, right? Because there's so many people that battle this mental health crisis. No matter what it is you're struggling with, I say trauma is not a competition, right? We all got piles of shit. Some of us got bigger piles of shit, right? And it's like, so how do you shovel that pile down? And I think that what you're doing is a tremendous way, especially, you don't have to be a veteran, right? I mean, you just got to be someone who needs someone to talk to. And I know that none of us are licensed therapists or anything, but I don't think you have to be. I think if you're just someone who can understand and give somebody, because I've looked forward to talking to you since we've talked about this, Bryce. I look forward to seeing you on with the Real Smoke guys. It's like, I absolutely love what you're doing for these communities. And I see Silent Hero as something that's bigger than just the cigar that we're smoking. And I hope that you have bigger plans than just a cigar for it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and for me, I always got to remember, baby steps. My wife is really good at that. Keeping me, grounded and reminding me, pretty much the next stepping stone, and not looking at it as the, again, the thousand mile, road down the way. So no, I do want to start to branch out and start doing a bunch of stuff, which I think you guys will see here very shortly.
Yeah.
And then, I really want it to be, and again, it doesn't have to be just veterans. Obviously, I'm a veteran, so that's what that's the demographic I talk to, because that's what I know.
Yeah.
And so, but again, like to your point, you don't have to be a veteran to suffer with PTSD. I mean, you could be, just driving along and you're fine, and then witness a car accident, and now you're, it leaves a mark.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not just throttled for only, servicemen and women or first responders. It's unanimously. And, the biggest picture that I wanted to convey when I started Silent Hero Cigar was, just to get people to talk, talking, I'm pretty sure I said it on the last podcast, but, talking saved my life. And, and if I can convey that message and just get people to understand, if you can just say it, you'll make it. I promise.
So that's actually kind of an irony, isn't it? Because the name of the company is Silent Hero, and actually you're kind of encourage them to be not so silent, right?
Yeah. And so the name of the company kind of comes from two different aspects. So my old unit when I was in the Army was called Silent Warriors. Mm-hmm. So to pay homage back to my old unit, I took the warrior piece off and kept the silent piece. And I put hero at the end because, again, our servicemen and women, they are heroes. And so, and you can lump first responders into that as well.
Right.
Those are heroes. And so it's a homage to pay towards them. But then at the same time, when the consumer purchases, one of our products, it doesn't have to be tobacco related. It could be swag or whatever. They are the silent hero, or, I got that from the silent donor, right?
Right. Uh-huh. Okay. Gotcha.
Because we take 10% on behalf of their purchase, and we kick that to an organization that is helping veterans with PTSD. So that's really where the name comes from.
So let me put you on the spot. You had mentioned earlier you're kind of working on getting a service dog for one of your vets there, and to help them with their journey. Now, do you have, is there a place, a website or someone can go say, let's say they want to donate to that directly. They say, well, I don't want to buy any cigars, but I'm happy to donate to getting that service dog. Is there a place someone can go and just, say throw down, $20 or whatever?
Yeah, so you can go to there's a couple of different things you can do. If you want me to have it and to kick it over, you can always go through Venmo. And I can give you my Venmo to post, or it's just at Bryce dash Weigel.
Okay.
It's me with my service dog. And so essentially what I'll do is I'll take that donation, and again, it'll be extremely helpful if you put on there, donation for service dog. And I'll take that donation. So when we make that final monetary, I guess gift, if you will, to the place is called Dogs and Tags. It's the same place that I got my service dog from.
Oh, okay.
So we'll give that to them. Or I believe if you go on their website, go to dogsandtags.com. You can go on there. I believe they have a donation spot. If you put Silent Hero, SHC, service dog donation, that way it'll go towards the veteran that we're trying to help. Those are the two routes that you can go.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that.
Of course.
And I want to say, because I know that obviously everyone works extremely hard for their hard-earned money and all that good stuff, but I am going to tell you right now that Bryce is someone that if you're investing in a cigar, a shirt, soon a hat, stickers, patches, frosty patches, whatever. I love the frosty patches, by the way. Bryce is putting his money where his mouth is. He's not someone that's, just hiding your contributions. I mean, we've seen it in December.
Yeah.
You were feeding all the people at the food trucks,
Yep.
And so I will personally say you can see what Bryce is doing with the money, and he's not someone that's just asking for donations because he's going to buy a $500,000 home with them, because unfortunately that happens, right?
Yeah,
and
occasionally.
And so I'm saying that because I want people to know that this is a foundation and a person that, though I've never sat in the same room with Bryce, face to face, other than like this, I 100% completely trust in what he's doing with this company. And I think it's phenomenal.
And the kind of caveat on that, if anybody is curious as to, organization, because we've been around for almost a year at this point. So if you go on our website, go on silentheroCigar.com, and you can go on there to the impact page at the top of the website and scroll down, and you'll see the organizations that we've actually benefited for those months. Some of those organizations have been repeats. And like I said, I'm really particular on what organization I donate to. So they have to provide, obviously, the right documentation to display that they are actually a not-for-profit. They have to sit down with me for a phone call to answer some questions.
Right.
These organizations, you can bet the bottom dollar on any one of them I have in there, that if you go on their website and you want to make a donation that money will go towards helping a veteran in some capacity.
And I want you to see right now, I don't know if you can see that, Bryce, I'm on Venmo right now. There's my $20 donation, brother. My $20 donation.
Look at that.
And I put service dog in there. I hope I spelled dog right. It's DOG, right?
There it is. Double G.
That's not for Snoop Dogg, but yeah. So I want you to see. It's that easy. It's that easy, guys. Hopefully I didn't just give you all my bank information, but there's not much in there. But I know because my wife works for Deep Fork Productions. We've talked about this before, and they do TV shows and stuff for wounded vets, and they do Fishing with Warriors and all this stuff, and so this is the veterans, the first responders there, that is a big community that needs people, and I love that we start with, let's just talk, right? I think that because there's so many people that suffer in silence, and it's, like I kind of shared whenever I sat down with a therapist, the first thing she said to me was, you're not going to like me. I'm going to make you talk about things you don't want to talk about and feel things you don't want to feel. And to me, that is the scariest part is doing that, is talking about stuff you do not want to talk about. And I think that that's where Silent Hero that comes in, is because you don't have to jump on and talk about your deepest, darkest trauma and feelings and all this. It's something that's as simple as, I can light this cigar up and we can talk about Nickelback or whatever, right? And we're going to enjoy this cigar together. We're going to have a conversation. And now all of a sudden I have a person that I can open up to, you know, I love that about this community. We've encountered so many people that have reached out to us and just said, "Hey, I just need somebody to know that I exist." And that, I think that's awesome that Zoom and these, you know, our little podcasts and Silent Hero, I'm glad that we can give people those outlets. And I hope that people will take advantage of them, because that's the hardest part, is taking advantage of it.
Right. Right. You have to be, but then you find as you come forward, you start talking about it and you kind of get to know people, you get comfortable. Then you realize, believe it or not, you will realize that it wasn't that hard to talk about. In the end, it was, at the first it was, but in the end, you know, it just lifts the weight off your chest, and, you know, somebody else knows what you're going through. They know it. And I think that can be as helpful as anything, that, you know, somebody else actually knows and understands what you're going, you know, what you're specifically going through, not just generically, you know, but just in specific. And I think that is what this community fosters with, you know, cigars and tobacco. So now I've also done some research on this kind of thing. And have you found, Bryce, I'll just throw a surprise one, that have you found as cannabis has been more legalized in more states for medical use and or recreation, have you found that to be an effective say talking tool or therapeutic endeavor, or does it more just get in the way?
I personally I've never explored that route. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I will say, I know a couple of veterans of mine that are, you know, that are not here locally, but in general. And they've used cannabis for a pretty good amount of time to help them, especially, you know, it's no secret that nighttime is the hardest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of them, they end up using cannabis of some sort to help them unwind and not be so anxious and stressed out to go to bed. So I do know, you know, firsthand that, you know, or not, maybe not firsthand, but I do know of people that have used that, and, you know, it's had success for them. Again, I personally haven't done it, just because, you know, I mean, especially here in Wyoming, it's not legal.
Gotcha.
And so that's, my hands are kind of tied with that one. But no, I definitely don't think it's a negative tool. Yeah, it's definitely, like, again, I'm not a doctor, I can't speak too much on it, but again, I have heard of some veterans that have used it, that it works for them.
Okay.
And I'm not a doctor. I am a nurse, and the field that I work in, this is another thing that I wanted to mention, because the stuff that our veterans, first responders, stuff that they're going through, a lot of them have children, and that trickles down. They see the stress and they see how that the people that they love are or are not dealing with it, right? And I have had several kids that they'll tell me, you know, my dad served in this or did that, and they do use cannabis, right? And I've had some kids be honest with me, like, you know, my dad tried it, but it made his paranoia worse. And so thankfully he realized that wasn't, you know, the right thing for him. So again, each individual is going to be different. And, you know, it's just like, you know, I tell the kids, look, I'm not going to tell you to take a pill that we don't know what the hell it's going to do to you over the next 5-10 years of taking this, and say, don't smoke marijuana or don't use cannabis, because you never know what is going to help somebody. Right. And I think it's like everything, you know, you want to be under a doctor's, you know, or at least someone that you're talking to, how that experience is going for you, if you choose to use either of those avenues as part of your treatment journey. But it's, you know, yeah, I mean, I'm not to say don't do this or don't do that. You know, I mean, I'm sitting here smoking cigars and I'm encouraging people to be of age. Don't be 12. And I mean, you know, but yeah, I mean, but find people like Bryce, you know, that have had these real life experiences and aren't afraid to share their experiences of what they've been through or what they've gone through, because we need people like that in this world, right? Don't shut yourself off from people. I think that would help tremendously. But what do I know? But oh hell, I had something else I was going to ask you, Bryce, and it'll come back to me. Let's jump back over to the 1,000-yard stare. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I was invited on to do a pop culture. The guys over at Pop Culture Yearbook invited me on to be a guest on their podcast, and obviously none of them guys were cigar smokers. I was smoking a cigar on there, and I was shirtless and damn near naked on that one because it was hot. So again, I'll save you. That one was not being recorded. I hope. Actually, it was. I hope I don't put that out. But I've made a real good friend. His name is Matt Cook. He does the Spinning the Wheel podcast. It's about George Michael, and he says on this episode, which I believe comes out in another week and a half, as soon as I mentioned that we were going to be having you on, he said, I need to know more about this Silent Hero cigar. And he said, I hope he's reached out to you. He's wanting to buy a box or two of cigars from you. One, because he wants to support what you're doing. Now Matt does smoke cigars, but you never know who wants to hear about this stuff. So again, it starts with talking. You don't have to be a cigar smoker to talk about Silent Hero cigars. Again, that's why I see Silent Hero as more than just a cigar brand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's more of a, more awareness. I mean, I always tell people, the cigars are just the vehicle, man. That's really what it comes down to. The cigars are the vehicle, but the ultimate goal is to, to get people talking, and to show people that like, hey, it's intimidating. Don't get me wrong. Like it is really challenging to do, but once you do, man, I mean, it's so much weight coming off of you, and
right.
It starts to kind of distance you from it. You know what I mean? Like I always refer to it to people as like the gray space. If you imagine PTSD as like a dark shadow kind of giving you a hug, and to get that shadow off of you, essentially, metaphorically, talking kind of increases that buffer, and the more that you have that buffer, the more that you feel you feel more human, more like you can enjoy the little things that much more.
And another thing I remember, the other thing I wanted to mention to you is because we talked about cigars with angels, but I would be kicking myself in the backside if I didn't bring this up. Obviously we want people to listen to our past episode with you, but if you're listening and you have not watched our friend J Ram, he is the Crazy Gringo on YouTube. He was I don't know if that's the first YouTube thing you did or not, but it is still, I've probably went back and watched that thing 4 or 5 times. It is just probably one of the best YouTube videos period that I've ever watched. Just the way that he introduced you and Silent Hero Cigars. He just did a tremendous job with you and your story. And I thank J Ram for that so much. So if you've not seen that on YouTube, I encourage you to go and watch that, because I think Bryce, you just did a tremendous job of telling your story, introducing people to Silent Hero Cigars, and J Ram just did a fantastic job with you. So I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to bring that up too. Because, they say sometimes you got to hear stuff 3 or 4 times before it starts to make sense. So I'm glad that you're on with the Real Smoke guys. You're on with us, because the more avenues people can hear about you, I think the more it's going to drive people towards what you're doing.
And don't forget, we're actually going to I'm sorry, I got the names mixed up. So
you're talking about Jason, the Dram Amateur.
Yeah,
he's a big supporter too.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're gonna have him on. So you said 1,000-yard stare is being released today. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
So can you estimate when people maybe can go to the website and maybe order a box there or what have you?
So in about not even an hour. So about at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and then 7 p.m. Eastern Time is actually when that will be going live on our website. And
excellent.
Those will actually be an annual release. So once those are gone, they're gone. If they sell out extremely quickly, then yeah, I'll end up doing another run just to kind of do one last push for the month of June. But then yeah, once that last push goes, if we need to bring in more, which is a good thing to need, after all of that, then it'll be gone until next year.
So guys, when this is going to be released, what, Monday you said?
No, I'm going to put it out. I'll get it all slung up. I'm going to put it out tomorrow morning.
Okay, so when you guys get this,
it'll be live.
It's going to be on the site.
So they better be sold out.
Right. So get over there to silentheroCigar.com and grab that 1,000-yard stare, and certainly if you're not familiar with it, certainly get the 5-pack. So you can familiarize yourself with all the great quality blends, and of course, you're helping to make a difference in people's lives, and I mean, you just can't beat it. You just can't beat that combination. A great quality product, and then one that you can be proud to get. And of course, Father's Day is coming up, so
that's right.
You can get a gift card over there and email it to your dad and say, hey, go get you some great cigars and all that kind of stuff. So also, again, now in our part of the country, Mr. Bryce, so the Thunder went down 111-110 on Thursday. They're in the NBA Finals. They're playing the Indiana Pacers. And so that next game will be Sunday night. So we are, we're kind of suddenly we're all basketball fans.
Everybody loves the Thunder now.
Yeah, all of a sudden, because they're in the finals. So
everybody knows who SHG is. No, I'm thinking Silent Hero Cigars.
SGA.
Yeah, that guy.
And so I still don't know who he's one of the players on the Thunder, Mr. Alexander, and. So now you said you're originally in baseball, you're a Baltimore Orioles fan. Is that right?
Yep. So, I mean, I'm originally from that area. So, I mean, it'd be a crime not to be.
Hey, we got Oklahoma boy, Jackson Holiday. He's playing for the Orioles, and I love Adley Rutschman, their catcher. He is a phenomenal catcher, and the Orioles, they had a great season last year. They kind of had a slump this year, but I think they're a young team, and they're a fun team to watch.
So Sean is a Cubs fan.
No, we're not talking about the Cubs. We're doing too good, Justin.
Okay,
we're not gonna jinx it.
Well, I tell you, and I'm a Kansas
we're
City.
Still in first place. Let's not jinx it.
Oh man, there you go. And I'm a Kansas City Royals fan. I think we're like 4th in the AL Central, but oh well, still. And again, to me, sports can be a lot, I mean, for me, especially like, sitting back on a summer's day with a good cigar and the game, the thing I like best about that is that these are things you can't rush. Like you can't just, speed through it. You've got to take time. You've got to hit pause and do that. And I think, we were talking about cigars. I think, like particularly baseball, enables you to do that too. It enables you to hit the pause button and step away from everything that's bothering you, and just enjoy the game and just enjoy your cigar. And I think those things really are just hand in hand.
And I had a question for you, Bryce, and I'm gonna walk a tight rope on this question because we've had a conversation privately, and so I don't want to share too much, but you mentioned that this 1,000-yard stare is it's a limited release. Is that something that might be in the plans for Silent Hero Cigars, where you maybe have special releases that, like, it's once these are gone, they're done for a year or whatever? Is that something that maybe that we're looking forward in the future from Silent Hero? Or
yeah, so 100%. So, I mean, that's really what I'm going to start doing, and I'll explain why too. So we're gonna keep our core line. That's not going anywhere. And then we're going to periodically do releases and everything like that. Special releases for different holidays and different events. And I'll announce it here, and I'm gonna also do a Instagram post as well. As I mentioned, Ish from Banff, helped me, walk the process with this 1,000-yard stare. And during that time of blending with him, he's just an encyclopedia of knowledge. And And so recently, after I got the cigars in and all that, I don't know what possessed me to do it. It was kind of a bold question to him. I asked him if he would actually be open to mentoring me and allowing me to actually blend for other people, and if he could actually help me with that, and and start to kind of learn that process to to the point where he's just he's the master blender. um and so that's really what I'm going to be branching out towards now is doing these special releases, keeping the core line, but also trying to blend with other small cigar companies or just cigar companies in general. I've had several of these companies reach out to me and everything, and then on top of that, I have foundations that are not for profits that support veterans with PTSD, that want their own custom blends and everything like that as well. So that's really the direction that I'm starting to head towards. At this point.
So Silent Hero Cigar is slowly taking over more and more of your time each day. And I wanted to give out, it's if you're on Instagram, BAMF_cigars, definitely want to make sure you are following those guys. Again, another great veteran cigar, just another great part of this community.
Yeah.
And we've got a little Jelly Roll. I wasn't never a really huge Jelly Roll fan. My brother was, but he's released a few songs. He's got one called I'm Not Okay. And that's what we've got kind of playing underneath us here, because I think that's kind of a perfect fitting. It's okay to say I'm not okay, right? It's okay to say I'm not okay. And this is another gentleman. He sent us a glass, the Stogie guy.
Oh yeah.
He's another big supporter. Jeff, the guy that does Death Western. Oh crap, I'm going to mess up his Instagram, so I'm going to look it up real quick so I don't. Death Western Woods. He does some great wooden cigar holders and things, and I think he did a thing for the Silent Hero giveaway, right? Brass knuckles or something like that.
Badass mallet.
Yeah, oh, that's what it was. A mallet. That's right. Yeah.
He did a killer mallet. Yeah, no, the Stogie guy, he's I love him to death. He's a good dude.
Yeah, we get all these. I mean, look, hey, I wanted to show you this. I thought this was hilarious. Sticker Mule made some stickers of me and Justin.
Oh, there you go.
And it's like I'm going to give this one to Justin, but it's like it's so big and huge. I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. Here, Justin, take a gander at that. But yeah, we've just been so fortunate to to play a very small part in this. Obviously, what you're doing, Bryce, we are just so thankful to be mentioned in the same breath as because what you're doing, and just what an incredible person you are. Again, we thank you for your friendship, and we thank you for letting us be involved in this, because it means a world to us. Just for you to take time out on a Saturday, to sit down with a couple of knuckleheads out here in a garage and talk about all this stuff that a lot of people don't like to talk about. And
what happened to my mic?
I had turned it down a little bit because
okay.
when we had some feedback.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're not trying to smell like Teen Spirit today. So
okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, we get a lot of people that tell us that they like to listen to us because we bring some enjoyment to them, and that means the world to me. If we can bring a smile to somebody's face just because we're goofy, and this is not an act, we're not a put on. I mean, my wife was just telling us on the way over here. She said, "I just like to refer to you guys as extra," and and she's not wrong, because this is who we are, and I'm humbled just to be able to be part of this, and if we can help one person, I'm extremely honored by that. So thank you for taking the time to sit down with us and let us talk to you again and be involved in this. In the 1,000-yard stare, I don't think I heard it on the Real Smoke. Someone said it. They said they had a crystal ball. Again, I would love to give credit to the person that said this, but it escapes me. They said this cigar is not going to stick around long, and I agree with them. I don't think it. I think that this community is going to rally around this mission, and it's going to be gone pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, so definitely, as I said, when you hear this, you need to be jumping on the website and getting your order in, because it's a very limited release, and we are definitely looking forward to that, particularly that particular Vitola.
Yeah, I mean, they may be sold out by the time this hits the airwaves. And then if it is, hey, great. We'll hope that there's another round.
Yeah.
And I'm just so fortunate that we've got a couple in the mail coming this way. But and if you are somebody who, look, hey, just tell your wife, your significant other, your partner, whatever you got. You're not just buying cigars. You're supporting a mission, right?
That's right.
That's
you're
one way
supporting the mission.
Get yourself out of trouble for spending $9,000 on silentheroCigar.com. You know, it's okay. Me and Justin are telling you right now, you got the go ahead, push that buy now button, and you're supporting a mission. You're not just buying cigars. You're just fortunate enough to get great cigars in return for your contributions to this wonderful mission and to this wonderful person and his family. And I laughed when Mick said that on the Real Smoke podcast about your wife not following him back. I was laughing so hard because I looked straight and I was like, oh yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah, you know, it's a long story, and I'll fill you in on that one when we're not live.
That's fine. That's fine. I just I'm not trying to put her on the spot or anything. I just thought that it was, you know, I thought it was hilarious that. But you're you know, and it's great that your wife is. It's in my observation, you have a great person behind you here, and and that's we all need somebody like that in our lives, right? So
definitely a confidant. I can't appreciate her more than. I mean, the word appreciate is not doing her justice, but she's a huge team member, and and a really good pillar for not just the business, but just me as a person. So, and go ahead.
I was just going to say, so if you don't mind me asking, how hands-on in Silent Hero Cigars is she?
So she's a lot of the marketing. So a lot of the photo aesthetics and a lot of the like the t-shirts, she designed the t-shirts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so she essentially just kind of, usually what she ends up doing is I usually just kind of tell her an idea that I'm roughly picturing in my mind, because it's a little harder for me for some reason. And then she just kind of interprets it, and she just kind of throws it together, and she'll just come over and just be like, what do you think? Like, is this what your idea was? And then it just kind of starts up. And then I'm like, well, what if we kind of switch it around and then, add this or take away that? And like all the patches and stuff, she's designed all the patches. She's pretty critical when it comes to, marketing and things like that. The cigars, obviously, she's not a cigar smoker herself, and so she can't really speak to that, but but again, like the band design, a lot of the other stuff that doesn't have to do with physically lighting the cigar and trying to blend or whatever, she's a tremendous help, and she just jumps right in.
And I will say, if you do a Christmas release, that frosty patch that she did would be a great cigar band. I'm just throwing that out there. There. But yeah, that's great. Thank you for letting me ask about her, because I know that she, like you said, the word appreciate is probably not a strong enough word. But it's great. We appreciate her support. She likes all of our pictures, and we appreciate everybody's support. But no, I think it's great what you guys have found in each other to get this Silent Hero cigar going and off the ground. What other questions you got, Justin?
Well, I appreciate you being on with us here, like on a Saturday afternoon, and again, just thank you for your work that the cigars are doing, and look forward to a lot of what's to come, and we'll be very excited. By the way, since your wife is in, so listen, pass along these two words, 2XL and olive drab for the t-shirts, and lids. Pumpkinhead. Yeah. So
what you're saying, Justin, is his wife is kind of the Paul Stanley of the Kiss, right? Since you said you like to keep it simple, never mind. That was a bad Kiss reference. Sorry.
I don't know what he's talking about, Bryce. Don't worry. It's okay.
But Paul Stanley wore the star, right? He in Kiss, he had the star on his paint, right? She's the star of the design. Again, bad dad joke. Sorry.
Well, it must be getting close to Father's
Day. Somebody save me.
Listen to all these dad jokes coming out.
Hey, Father's Day is coming up. Please feel free to use them.
So
let's Bryce, tell everybody where. I know we've told about your past episode with us. You've been on with the Real Smoke guys a couple of times. You've been on with J-Ram. Tell people how they can find you, where they go to make donations. Let's give all that information again.
Yeah, so where to find us. So social media wise, if you just type in Silent Hero Cigar, our logo will pop up with the blue verified check mark.
Okay.
And that's on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. And then website wise, so you just type in silentheroCigar.com, and then that'll pop it up right there. And then, if you're wanting to purchase from us, by all means, we're not going to, obviously we're not going to stop you. What I would encourage is going onto our Find Us tab at the top and
Yes.
trying to find a local brick and mortar by you.
Oh, definitely.
Tulsa Hill Cigars.
Yeah, like if you're in Oklahoma, Tulsa Hill Cigars. Because when you go in there and you support those guys, I mean, you're getting you're doing like a double whammy. Yeah, you're supporting that brick and mortar that is, trying to, obviously be there, right? And then you're also supporting us. Just because you purchase from the website, it doesn't mean that that's the only way to support what we do. So go in there, find a brick and mortar that's near you. We also have at the top of that page, if there isn't one that's near you, we do have other online retailers. And again, we have those with links at the top. So just click on the link and it'll take you right to it. And again, if you don't want to do all of that and you just want to purchase it from our website, by all means. And then what else am I missing?
Well, that's why, Brian, I'm so glad that you said that, because I heard you say that the other night. I'm so glad you said that about the brick and mortar stores, because you're really getting a double bang for your buck, right?
Yeah.
Not only are we supporting Bryce and Silent Hero Cigars, but you're also supporting that local brick and mortar store. And that's what's going to keep other brick and mortar stores ordering Silent Hero Cigars. Let's keep that foot on the gas.
Right.
And that's all. I mean, guys, if you're listening, and like Bryce said, if you have, obviously I want you to support, if you don't have a brick and mortar, those online retailers. Is it Toro Cigars?
Cigar company. Yeah.
And definitely by all means, but go into your local brick and mortar and say, look, I got to talk to you about Silent Hero Cigars. I mean, that's what I did, and we invited Steve on, and he experienced the Silent Hero cigar for himself, and or order a variety pack and take one in and say, hey, I want you to smoke this cigar. The cigar is going to sell itself. And then the mission behind it is, that's just extra bang for the buck. But I'm so glad that you said that, Bryce. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to hear you say that again. So,
and again, if you go into a brick and mortar and everything and say, you didn't purchase a 5-pack, or maybe you forgot, whatever the case may be, and you let them know, what we're doing, the cigars we have, get them, reach out to us via Instagram, email, whatever it may be. And, we'll work with that shop. If they need samples, we'll get them samples. So don't feel like you have to, go in there packed and loaded. If you find a shop that's interested, by all means, point them in the direction of our social media or something of that nature, and we'll get that ironed out for them.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And again, we're, I can't mention Steve and Andrea enough. We are so thankful that they took the time to listen to us about, and Steve be on with us and experience that cigar for himself. And I'm glad that it worked out that way, because he got to fall in love with it. And you can hear him on that episode, fall in love with your cigars. And he still, we talk about you every time I go in there. And so I'm very thankful. And we had another, one of our local establishments asked us to come in to actually record this episode. And I appreciated that offer, but I wasn't going to do that to Steve at Tulsa Hill Cigars, because Steve is the one that is supporting Silent Hero Cigars, and we weren't able to make that work out that quickly to record there. So we came to the Carho Lounge to record this with you. But by all means, if you are a brick and mortar shop owner and you listen to us, hey, first, thanks for listening to us, but order Silent, get in touch with Bryce. I promise you, your patrons of your cigar shop are going to love you and thank you for stocking those cigars.
And if you ever want to think about like an infused cigar, like a flavored cigar, I'm a big fan of that genre. I asked you about that before, and you said you really weren't into that. But if you ever accidentally do, like you hit upon something that you feel like could really benefit the brand, definitely let us know, because I'm all in. From what I've got from you so far, they've just been fantastic. If you had an infused, I can't imagine that would be even more fantastic.
A silent wood cigar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's honestly something that has been really requested too. So, I mean, even though that I may not enjoy an infused cigar to that nature, if people are really requesting that, by all means, I mean, that's something that I've been actually looking into recently.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But
So,
but
yeah.
definitely when you do, make sure it, and I know you will, but I know that you'll make sure it's not just another copycat. It's not just doing what these guys over here at, say, Drew Estate are doing. I know when you guys do it, it's going to be just something way out there original, you know, like the 1,000-yard stare, you know, just something totally. So you know, so that's why I'd be looking forward to that so much.
Yeah, and again, Bryce, I want to thank you as we kind of wrap this up again for taking the time out to honor us with your time, because, you know, again, this is something that we just absolutely, I've been looking forward to it ever since you asked, hey, can we do, I was just floored. I was like, man, this is so cool that you have asked us to have this privilege to speak with you again. And I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, just, and if there's anything that me or Justin or our little Smoking Sounds podcast can do, you know, we're there. We will more than happy to do anything and everything we can for Silent Hero Cigars, because Justin, it's not a competition.
It's a community.
Woo, man, that worked out good. We didn't even practice that. So look at us. But yeah, so silentherocigar.com. Find him on Instagram. You don't do any funny dances on TikTok or anything, do you, Bryce?
No, not me. Not me.
We don't either. They keep banning us. I post a picture of a cigar. They'll let me lip sync Informer all day long, but I post a picture of a cigar and we're banned. So
well.
Like Chris Cross said, they can get the finger, the middle. But so we don't much tiki-talky around here. But but no, I think Instagram has got a great cigar community. I think people are we've named off a few, the Stogie guy, Angel, Kevin, all those guys. You need to you're doing the Lounge Life podcast. I forgot to bring that up. You're going to be sitting down with Rob and Al.
Yeah, I'll be sitting down with those guys as well. Yeah, no, it's the community, especially on Instagram. I found it is it's just unlike no other. I mean, it's a very inviting community. So I mean, if you're someone that's wanting to get into the cigar world and all that kind of stuff, by all means, don't be intimidated. You know, if somebody's being a butthole about it, I mean, more often than not, they're probably, you know, just steer away from that person, because there's so many beautiful and lovely people that are in the cigar industry that genuinely just want you to enjoy what you're smoking, and they love answering questions if they can answer them. I mean, I can't say enough about the cigar community, at least from my perspective. I mean, it's always been open arms. So,
and I will tell you, when you sit down with Rob and Al over at the Lounge Life podcast, they're way cooler than we are. So, you know,
so by the way, you know, Rob and Big Al, by the way, Big Al, that's why I changed. You guys saw me on camera. That's why, thank you for the hat.
Yeah,
it's great.
Pumpkinhead approved.
Pumpkinhead approved.
Okay, so there we go. That's a win-win.
So Bryce, one last hard-hitting question that our listeners want to know: when you have the opportunity, Zippo or no Zippo for the cigar?
If I had the opportunity, mainly just for the nostalgic, I would do Zippo.
Whoa!
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, so believe me, they're keeping score at home, different guests and different options. So we had to kind of get that in there. All right, Sean.
Yeah. So and again, I can't. Jay Furman. I know I've mentioned his name a couple of times, but when he was on with us, he got the Wood and Water cigar pick, and he did a giveaway that was the Wood and Water cigar pick, and Silent Hero Cigars was included in that giveaway. And so the community, you guys, thank you for being there to listen. Thank you for being there to encourage, and thank you for being there to support us and Bryce and Silent Hero Cigars. So I guess that's the only thing left to do, Justin, is say, well, that's a wrap on this episode of Smoking Sounds. Hey, don't forget to follow us at Smoking Sounds Pod. We're on Instagram and Facebook. We'd like to increase our Facebook numbers a little bit. I don't know what's so hard about Facebook. Used to be the bee's knees. Now it's just there. But we'd love to see more interaction with you guys there on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast so that you never miss a beat or a draw. Hey, and if you would please leave us a 5-star review. It helps us get the podcast out in front of more people. So, hey, listen, until next time, keep those cigars lit, your pipes packed, and the sounds smoking. All right. Bryce, thank you again so much, man. I'm gonna stop recording on the board. And then I'm going to stop the recording here hopefully we won't lose you.